Hey friend, I'm back with another episode, and today I'm going to be talking about how marriage and motherhood have taught me many things. But I think that the biggest thing that it has taught me in this season of my life is how they are both beautiful mirrors of God's love. To me, they reflect God's love to us while also revealing the places where He's still growing us. Marriage and motherhood can be humbling and stretching and incredibly rewarding all at the same time. And today we're going to be talking about how marriage and motherhood teach us about God's love and how that truth shapes the way we love our families and why God's love never fails, even on the messy days, but especially on the messy days. Welcome to Called and Rooted Christian Moms. I'm Darby, a wife, mama to three, teacher, and believer in Jesus Christ. I've learned that to build a God-centered home, we must first become rooted in Christ ourselves. So if you're ready for simple biblical teachings that bring peace, connection, and proximity to Christ in everyday motherhood, this podcast is for you. Whether you're folding laundry, doing dishes at the kitchen sink, or watching your babies play from the back porch, Christ is calling you into partnership with Him. Let's get rooted, Mama. Marriage and motherhood have a way of revealing what's really in our hearts. They are beautiful gifts, but they're also refining gifts. Before marriage, it's easy to think that we're patient, and before motherhood, it's easy to think that we're selfless. And then life happens, and you have sleepless nights and miscommunication, unrealistic expectations, messes and schedules, and suddenly we realize how much we still need Jesus. Marriage and motherhood don't create those things, they reveal them. But they also reveal something else, God's incredible love and grace toward us. When I talked about building our house on the rock and about truth, Jesus says in Matthew 7:24, "Everyone who then hears these words of mine and does them will be like a wise man who built his house on the rock." The truth is, the foundation we build our homes on eventually becomes the foundation we love from. And when my foundation is my feelings and my expectations or being right, my responses reflect that. But when my foundation is Christ and His truth, it changes the way I respond to my husband, my children, and the challenges of my everyday life. Truth doesn't just shape our parenting. Truth shapes our marriage. It shapes our reactions. It shapes how we love, how we respond to situations, and how we model that to our kids and to the world. I feel like with our world and the way we live, there's so many unrealistic expectations, and it almost kind of like twists your mind a little bit to think a little bit negatively towards motherhood or negatively towards your spouse with things. Just automatically think of this one example so vividly because it really hit home for me about a year ago. If any of you are from the South and have a husband that is an avid hunter, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's one of those things where, you think you don't mind them doing things that they enjoy and all of that. And then it becomes like kind of a thing where you get aggravated with, like, oh, you're going hunting again? Okay. And like kind of having that kind of attitude. And that's where I was at one point. And then I realized one day I just opened up the freezer outside and it was like slam full of meat from top to bottom, like overflowing. Like it was just a ton. And I thought, he did not even have to have the recognition. He didn't have to be like, yeah, by the way, go check the freezer. He didn't, it was just a thing he did. And it reminded me, I just instantly had tears in my eyes because I was like, oh my gosh, even though that's something that he enjoys doing, he also enjoys providing and being the leader of our home. And he doesn't ask for of recognition or of thank you. It's just something he does. And I was like, that is the way Christ loves us, and I just think that sometimes we overlook the simple things that are really huge things that we can take for granted. And I feel like Jesus has a way of humbling us in our everyday lives if we'll just take a moment to stop and like notice. Because there's so many things to pay attention to, and we get so distracted by our phones or by just, our schedules and what we have to do, our to-do list, that like we don't even take note of like the things that he's provided us for and provided us with without asking anything back in return. And it brings me back to also the verse in 1 Corinthians that is always used in weddings, and we've heard it so many times, but have we ever really like paid attention to it? Love is patient, love is kind, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. And that really stuck with me, because it's like, you're not bringing up what you didn't do last week, or, oh, well, I took out the trash and I've had to you do the dishes and you cook and I do the dishes. Like that kind of thing. Like, yes, it's a partnership, but also it's not, well, because I've done this, this is your job now, because we're keeping score here. And that's what that verse is saying, is that's not love. Love is, we're going to do this together, but we're gonna make it a team. I'm not gonna say what I've done so that you can fill up your part so that we're equal or even. And that's the way God is. He is not gonna be like, well, you sinned last week, so I'm not gonna do this and answer this for you this week or whatever. And I just feel like that's such a beautiful way that Christ can really help us to take note of how much he really truly loves us, and how much we need his grace and need to rely on him to be our provider and be the one that we come and seek. And just as God sent his son Jesus to die for us so that we could have everlasting life and have someone to actually be a spirit within us that walks with us and is a friend and someone that we can talk to each day and go to for our troubles and our problems and our sorrows and our praises and all of the things. It's so incredible how God designed marriage in that same way. Marriage was never meant to be two people pursuing their own agendas under the same roof. God designed marriage to be a partnership, a covenant, a reflection of Christ's love. And the goal isn't perfection, but the goal is unity. It's not about what can I get from this or what can you do for me, but how can I serve? And it kind of brings me to his creation of man and woman and how he created Adam to be the one that is the worker and the one that is out there doing all of the heavy lifting and being the provider and being the ultimate leader for the household, and how Eve was created from Adam, and he was her helper. There was no one suitable for Adam until God created Eve. And I just think that is so just incredible how God designed everything. And once you become more rooted in realizing how God designed all of the roles and the things that we are now a part of, now that we're in the season that we're in, if you're listening and you are a mom or you are a wife or both, and just how that experience can truly shape you and continue to shape you in the way that Christ sees you and reflecting his love. So friend, if you didn't get the dream vacation, the fancy date night, the flowers, or the I love you shout out on social media, remember this: the greatest representation of love was never found in a grand gesture. It was found on the cross. A love that was patient, a love that was sacrificial, a love that chose grace, and a love that stayed and is still here today. The kind of love described in 1 Corinthians 13 isn't something we have to manufacture on our own. It's the love Christ first showed us. And when we root ourselves in knowing that truth, we are able to extend that same love to our husbands and to our children and the people God placed in our lives. Because at the end of the day, the greatest love story isn't ours, it's His. And His love never fails. And before we go, I want to personally invite you to join our Rooted Moms community on Facebook. Think of it less like a Facebook group and more like a group chat of Christian moms walking through the same season together. It's where we'll continue these conversations throughout the week with encouragement, weekly resets, and some dinner ideas, some ways to connect with the family, and just reminders to keep Christ at the center of our homes. So whether you're trying to be more intentional with your family, looking for some inspiration or encouragement, or just wanting to have a community of moms who are striving to stay called and rooted in Christ, I would love to have you there. I'll leave the link in the show notes, and if you have trouble finding it, just shoot me a message.
Did this episode speak with you? If it did, share it with a friend. Hey, Mama, how are you?
Well, the laundry isn't going to fold itself, so it's time for me to get back at it. See you next time, friend. Just remember to stay rooted, mamas.